Hello, I'm Rachel from Douentza Garden in Ireland, and you are very welcome to this collab video with the wonderful Jeanette from the Enthusiastic Gardener channel in the UK. We all want loads of colour in our garden, but it's a mistake to think that that colour is provided by flowers alone. If you consider that deciduous plants, well, we see their leaves for maybe 8 months in the year. And with evergreen plants, we're looking at their leaves for a full 12 months. Now, even the most fantastic flower is only going to bloom for a fraction of this time. So it therefore makes sense to choose plants with colourful foliage to bring colour into the garden before our flowers start and for long after they finish. With that in mind, let's get on with the video. Today's video is all about colour in the garden. But before we get started, in case you're new to the channel, I just thought I'd tell you a little bit about my garden. So I'm situated in Southern Ireland, south of the capital Dublin, about 124 kilometres down, that's 77 miles. My hardiness zone roughly equates to US hardiness zone 9. We don't use that system here, but just take it as a rough guide. And the garden is an acre in size, that's half a hectare. It's roughly 18 years old and I open to groups by appointment. For me, as for all of us, it's important that my borders look interesting even when not in flower. And one of the ways I achieve this is by choosing plants with foliage of different colours. Today I'm going to share 6 of my favourite foliage plants, favourites because of their glorious foliage colour. We're also going to hear from Janette of the Enthusiastic Gardener channel, who has a different garden, different climate, different considerations and different tastes. And we're going to learn of her 6 favourite coloured foliage plants. But that's not all. After you finish watching this video, you should head on over to Janette's channel to hear about another 6 of my favourite plants and another 6 of Janette's. But now, let's hear from Jeanette.
Hello Rachel, it's Jeanette here from Enthusiastic Gardener, and hello to you in Douentza Garden in Ireland and all your wonderful viewers, and thank you so much for inviting me to share a bit of my garden with you. And we're doing foliage colours, which is very exciting because I've always try and stick to the principle of the different colours of foliages, the red, the blue, the green, the yellow and the variegated and the silver. So I'm going to show you my favourites in my garden this spring of those colours and maybe give you some ideas. And I'm excited to see Rachel's choices as well.
Well, Jeanette, you're not going to have to wait long to hear about mine. Now, as you said, today we're going to hear about plants with foliage that's either green, yellow, silver, variegated, blue or red. And which one will we start with? Maybe red. I just love red foliage. I think it's the most interesting of them all. But it should be noted that in gardening parlance, anything with dark, almost black foliage like this is referred to as having purple foliage. I know, it's not purple at all, but that's the way it's referred to. Now, purple foliage provides a beautifully contrasting backdrop for lighter colours. Critics might claim that overuse will give the illusion of a gap in your border. This is because in sunshine, too much dull purple foliage looks dreary and heavy and out of place. But even if you think that, you can at least use a little. Now, my favourite red/purple leaved plant is this fantastic Japanese Acer here, and it's a variety that is dissected, and you can tell that by the way that the leaves present, just gorgeous and feathery. Now, this is a plant that likes shade. It needs moist, well-drained soil, and it needs to be kept out of wind, so a sheltered position. Japanese acers are extremely slow growing, so you need to consider that this one here was bought as a mature plant and it's 24 years old. I would say, in fact, that this is the perfect tree for a small garden if you have the right conditions. Japanese acers or maples can come with different coloured leaves, like this favourite yellow one I have. But clearly, the purple-leaved ones are my absolute favourite because I have a total of 4 in my garden, although the others are smaller than this one. Not all have the dissected leaves that this one has. And now, Jeanette, let's hear from you. And perhaps you could start by telling us just a little bit about your garden.
So here's a view of my garden in Essex. I'm on the southeast coast of England. It's not a very big garden, but it is my happy place. My favourite place to be. And 30 miles to the west of me is the City of London, and 30 miles to the east, in the opposite direction, you will find the seaside town of Southend-on-Sea. And we don't really use zones over here like the US do, but if you were to compare, then I'm probably around the equivalent of maybe a zone, US zone 8. Rachel, I love your Acer, I really do. And my favourite for the reds has to be heucheras. I adore my heucheras, and I have quite a lot. Anyone who knows me or watches my channel knows how many heucheras I have. But look, the reds kind of do cover all these hues, and they're so easy to grow, they're low maintenance. You don't really have to do anything except take off the old dead ones end of the winter or beginning of the spring. They're just beginning to flower, and each one has different types or different colours of flowers, you can see. So these ones are all kind of in the red family, and I love them. So my reds are heucheras.
Wow, your garden's so pretty, Jeanette, and so neat. And I'm with you 100% on the heucheras. They're just such a wonderful plant for a sunny spot. Although you make me think, I don't think I have as many different hues as you do. And now we're moving on to blue foliage plants. And I know this is one that's particularly close to your heart, Jeanette. We should note here, though, that gardeners again take a bit of a liberty with the colour wheel when they use the term blue. In real life, what gardeners call blue is really glaucous. It's more a dull greyish-green colour with a blue tinge. And my favourite in this category is a hosta, Empress Wu. When this hybrid originally came out, it was touted as the largest known hosta available. Mine is fairly big, but I guess if you were to water and feed it, it might get a lot bigger. But I'm a lazy gardener, so I don't bother with any of that, but actually it does fine without. Now, this is a plant much used in exotic gardening in this part of the world because look at those fantastically enormous leaves. It has giant corrugated glaucous foliage, which is a good slug deterrent, and they mostly don't bother with Empress Wu at all. Like most hostas, it does well in shade, in moist, well-drained soil. And for those reasons, Hosta Empress Wu is my favourite blue-leafed plant. What's yours, Jeanette?
Rachel, your Empress Wu is a wow. I love it. I need to get some more hostas in my garden. Now my blue choices are these wonderful blue fescue grasses. They are small cushions of very fine ice blue leaves. They do become greener in the winter, but then from late spring to summer they have narrow, bristly blue, green flower plumes which turn golden brown. I love them. They suit all pHs. They like full sun. The clumps sometimes do tend to die out in the middle, so you can divide them every 3 years or so, and then you just comb out the foliage in the spring. Absolutely gorgeous. I love them. Blue fescue grasses.
Those are such neat little grasses, aren't they? It's almost like full stops around the garden. Gorgeous. And now we move on to green leaves. Now, because the majority of leaves are green, it's going to take a really nice one to make my favourites list. And that's why I've chosen the rhododendron that's here behind me. I've chosen Rhododendron Sino Grande, the giant Chinese rhododendron, for its jungle-like leaves. This is one of the big-leaved rhododendrons. It does also produce pale yellow flowers, although sometimes they're knocked back by frost, but it's chiefly grown for its foliage. The leaves will get bigger over time, reaching 50 centimetres, that's 20 inches long. I can't wait. For added interest, the underside of the leaves has a covering of hairs called indumentum, giving a brownish sheen. The tree will grow big in time. Like most rhodos, it requires a semi-shaded position and moist, acidic soil, which I'm happy to provide it with. And now I would very much like to hear what you've chosen for your green-leafed favourite, Jeanette.
Rachel, I love your rhododendron. It is stunning. This is my green choice. Apologies for the wind today. Very windy day. This is one of my favourites. It's a Trachycarpus fortunei, a windmill palm. Absolutely gorgeous. They can grow up to 12 metres in height. They're fully hardy. They like sun or partial shade. They can grow 6 to 12 inches per year, which is amazing. And then the mature plants, they can bear clusters of yellow flowers in the summer, and the female trees develop fruits as well, blue and black fruits. I don't know if mine is a boy or a girl, actually. I've only had this for 2 years. It is beautiful. I absolutely love it. Like full sun to dapple shade. They're rarely affected by pests or diseases. And it holds the RHS Award of Garden Merit. So that's my choice for green, the Trachycarpus fortunei.
I just love Trachycarpus fortunei too, Jeanette. Don't you just love a tree that looks exotic or subtropical and palm-like, and yet it's hardy in our climates? What's not to love? And now moving on to silver, and I, for this choice, have chosen a fern. I don't grow many ferns, so the ones I do grow need to be really great. This is the Japanese painted fern. It has deeply cut silvery grey fronds, which are dusty purple towards the centre, making it a very attractive small plant with an arching habit. It's very low maintenance, providing you give it a shaded, moist position. The only danger with this one is that you might weed it out by mistake in spring. The fronds don't noticeably unfurl in the same way as other ferns do, and the plant tends to produce stringy growths first thing in spring that look to me like weeds. But if you do weed it out, you'll be sorry, because this fern is a stunner and well worth having. So that's my favourite silver foliage plant, and I can't wait to see what yours is, Jeanette.
Rachel, I love your erythium. You're giving me great ideas. Now my silver foliage is very, very small. Here it is. It is gorgeous. It's Alamium, otherwise known as White Nancy, and otherwise known as a dead nettle, which is not a very attractive name, but it's just so pretty. They grow around 20 centimetres high. They provide a wide mat of kind of little heart-shaped flowers. I just think they're so pretty, and they're edged with dark green, as you can see here. They'll spread around 1/2 metre to 1 metre in about 2 to 5 years. They again like all the pH soils, which is so wonderful, and full or partial shade, beautiful little lamium.
That is one well-behaved lamium you have there, Jeanette, and such a little cutie. I'll tell you, some of them, they have notions of world domination. And now, moving on to variegated plants. And I have to tell you that my favourite type of variegation is the one that has green and cream leaves. I prefer it to the green and yellow leaves. I find that it just stands out better. And my favourite plant in that category has got to be this here, the wedding cake tree. Look at it! Isn't she a stunner? I guess it's called the wedding cake tree because of its layered horizontal branching, although that's less than obvious with my specimen. It requires full sun and prefers well-drained, neutral to acidic soil. It's not a fast growing tree, but a magnificent one. And here you can see how great it looks with the purple foliage of the beech hedge behind. This really highlights the point I was making earlier about how well purple and cream can work together. They make a fabulous combination in the garden. So tell me, Jeanette, what's your favourite variegated plant?
Another plant that I need now, Rachel, a cornus. This is my variegated choice down here. It's a pelargonium, and this variety is called Contrast. And as you can see, it's got the most gorgeous colours. It will have, I've only just planted it, but it will have, just beginning there you can see, it will have orange flowers. I just think it's delightful, and it picks up the yellow that you can see in the distance in my heuchera over there. It's just really pretty, and these will join in. I've planted them amongst my alliums at the moment, so when the allium foliage goes and the daffodil foliage goes, this will be covered in a big mound. And I did this a couple of years ago and it got huge, and it was just gorgeous, providing that you just keep deadheading the flowers. They'll go on and on and on, and that is my choice for the variegated.
That's lovely foliage on those pellies there, Jeanette. Isn't it just wonderful when a plant that we buy for the fantastic flowers also has great foliage? It's just a bonus. And now we're moving on to yellow foliage plants. Not a real favourite of mine, because I think very often, it's only a personal choice, a personal opinion, but I find with some yellow plants, particularly yellow hedging, they can give a kind of sickly feel or appearance rather than what they're supposed to do. Having said that, yellow is a very important colour in the garden, foliage colour in the garden, and something that we all need, certainly here and there. And for my favourite yellow foliage plant, I've chosen Anastrantia, or Hattie's pincushion, which is this plant here behind me. I know choosing another variegated plant is cheating slightly, but I feel the overall impression of this plant is yellow. The green in the leaf just helps balance it out from looking sickly. Anyway, this is a cracking little Astrantia. The foliage looks great, and it also flowers pink. In the beginning, I used to cut off the flowers because I disliked the yellow foliage with the pink flowers, but my tastes have changed over time, and now I just let it be. This plant likes full sun or partial shade and any good soil. After flowering, cut your plant back to the base to encourage fresh new growth. This should also help if the leaves lose their yellow a little bit later in the season, as this particular specimen is wont to do. And now, Jeanette, tell me what you chose for your yellow favourite.
Astrantia major. I'm going to have to go plant shopping now, Rachel. Here is my final choice. My yellow. Yellow for me has to be euonymus. I love euonymus. And this one is my little topiary euonymus, which does need a little bit of a haircut. But you can see the beautiful colours everywhere. It's just stunning. I love it. I have another lovely one over here, which I've had for a couple of years. You don't have to do anything to them, but they just pick up a little bit of colour, add a little bit of delight. Love my euonymus.
I'm pleased to see that you also cheated a little bit, Jeanette, and chose a yellow-green variegated plant for your yellow choice in that euonymus. And I do think that euonymus is a very versatile plant, a great substitute for box hedging, and it's always interesting to see how different people treat them. So yours was clipped into a lollipop, very nice, very interesting, and you can see I've treated mine, which I think are a different variety, but they're in what might be known as box bowls if they were a box, but they're not box. Anyway, thank you very much, Jeanette, for taking part in this video. And it is not over yet, oh no. So this was my video with Jeanette's collaboration. You now need to head over to Jeanette's channel, where you're going to find another 12 wonderful plants with the different colour foliage, 6 from me and 6 for Jeanette. I'm going to link to Jeanette's video at the end of this, but I'm also going to put the link down in the description, in the details of my video, so you can check it out there. And now let's hear from Jeanette herself.
It's been so much fun joining you today, Rachel, in Douentza Garden. I want to invite you now over into my garden, choosing our second favourites in each of the categories.
Thank you very much, Jeanette. You have an absolutely beautiful garden and you make the most of each and every square inch of it. It's a joy to see. I encourage everybody who's watching here today, if you don't know Jeanette's channel, go over, check it out. I'm sure you'll want to subscribe. And now finally, just to say thank you to all of you for watching this video, and to let you know that, and to Jeanette of course, thank you Jeanette for sharing your wonderful insights and wonderful plants. And I want to let you all know that the next video from me will be according to the normal schedule, so it'll be next Sunday, and I hope it will be the May garden tour video, which I know many of you are waiting to see. The Thursday videos have finished now. Sorry, I came to an end with them, and yeah, that's that. But we will be continuing on a Sunday with a large, longer length video like the garden tour, which you'll see next Sunday. And just to let Irish members know that I will be attending the Bloom Festival this Sunday, and I'll be manning the advice desk of the Irish Garden magazine. So please do drop in, come along, say hi. I'd absolutely love to see you. Now, Bloom is the Irish equivalent of the Chelsea Flower Show with show gardens, etc. And it's a kind of a not to be missed event here in Ireland. So if you're passing by, do drop in and say hi on the advice hub. And yeah, that's it. Okay, thank you again for watching. Thank you. And goodbye. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.